Some Christians say Halloween is just harmless fun. Others say it's straight up satanic. So who's right? I'm going to give you my take, and some people won't like this. The Apostle Paul actually dealt with this exact same scenario, just not with costumes and candy. But back in the first century, the church in Corinth faced a serious dilemma. In their city, people were constantly sacrificing animals to pagan gods like Zeus, Apollo, or Aphrodite. And after the sacrifices, the leftover meat was sold in the marketplace or served at public feast. So Christians were asking, if I buy that meat, am I joining in idol worship, or is it just food? And Paul answered this in 1 Corinthians chapter 8 through 10. And his words gives us wisdom for modern debates like Halloween. He started off by saying, we know that an idol has no real existence and that there is no God but one. In other words, the meat itself wasn't evil. It wasn't cursed. It wasn't contaminated. But Paul adds a very important warning that many people miss. He says, take care that this right of yours does not somehow become a stumbling block to the weak. Some believers, especially those Christians who had just come out of idol worship, they couldn't eat the meat without feeling guilty, like they were participating in their old life again. So Paul says, if food makes my brother stumble, I will never eat meat, lest I make my brother stumble. That is love over liberty. Freedom guided by conscience. And the same principle still applies to us today. So now let's talk about Halloween. Some Christians see it as a harmless night of fun, candy, costumes, connecting with neighbors, while others see it as celebrating darkness, witchcraft, and fear, things the Bible warns us to stay away from. So what's the truth? I think Paul would say this: it's not just about what you do, but what it means and where your heart is. He says in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 23 to 24, all things are lawful, but not all things are helpful. All things are lawful, but not all things build up. Let no one seek his own good, but the good of his neighbor. If you can participate with a clear conscience, using it to shine light, bless families, and glorify Jesus, then go for it. So whether you eat or drink, whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God, according to 1 Corinthians 10, verse 31. But if your spirit feels uneasy, if it feels wrong, if it feels compromised, then don't force it. Paul says whoever has doubts is condemned if he eats, because the eating is not from faith. For whatever does not proceed from faith is sin. And above all, don't judge, don't shame believers who see it differently than you. The Bible says, let us not pass judgment on one another any longer, but decide never to put a stumbling block or hindrance in the way of a brother. Are you glorifying God in what you do? Or are you blending in with the world without even realizing it? So this Halloween, don't just ask what's allowed. Ask what glorifies God. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.